Hi everyone, my name is Luke Ferrell, and today I'm going to be talking about digital creation projects to support differentiated instruction. So first off, we kind of have to talk about what is differentiated instruction. And here they give 3 points about what is important to differentiated instruction. They say it's when students can be grouped based on skills, interest, readiness, or by choice. So a lot of group work is important, but more importantly, either students are choosing that group or they're grouped based on a common characteristic. And then also when there's a purposeful use of flexible grouping while keeping the lesson's goals in mind. That's really what we're going to be talking about today. Students need to have flexibility and be able to take control of their own learning, and teachers kind of act as a facilitator, giving them a general idea of what the goals are for the lesson and where they need to be, and they're kind of going about how they're doing that. Then the last one, teachers are teaching up and holding students to a higher standard. So here to kind of talk about the idea that we're going to present today to accommodate differentiated instruction. From Meg Ormiston's Creating a Rich Digital Classroom, she says, instead of having all students in a class doing the same thing, we can structure assignments so that students work on various tasks using a variety of technological tools as well as print resources. So that's going to be important going into this next part where she goes on to describe a project that she gives her students. What she did is she divided her students into small groups. Each group is assigned a different portion of the Lewis and Clark expedition route. And that kind of goes into the first point about differentiated instruction, that students are grouped by some kind of common characteristic. And then each group goes about how to present their portion. So on the right, you see from her book, she has a plethora of different tools and approaches that could be used by students to present their information on the Lewis and Clark expedition. So digital creation activities, which I'm kind of presenting under the broad description of just something that students are doing to really become experts and learn about and do their own research and then present to a class some kind of digital creation tool. So these activities can be used to introduce a new unit or topic. So for example, to kind of start the unit, say about, the Revolutionary War, to kind of introduce students to that, maybe they'll each group will do a cause of the Revolutionary War, and they'll kind of go into detail about that. Review a past unit or topic, which could be, there's a unit test coming up, so students are taking different sections of the unit and dividing it up and making some kind of project with that. And the last one, which I think is probably most helpful, especially in terms of time and saving time in like instructional time in the classroom, is teaching students a new topic. So students are actually, rather than a teacher lecturing on a certain topic, they're the ones teaching each other about it. So how does it work? Similar to the example we saw before, students are assigned either individually or in groups. Most beneficial to supporting differentiated learning is being in groups, but they're assigned a section or a skill or some kind of section of the larger unit or topic that you're learning about. Next, they're going to conduct their own research, whether that be through a selection of sites that the teacher's giving, or certain resources that the teacher's giving, or if it's kind of just open-ended and students can do their own research. They're becoming experts on that skill. And then in the end, they select some kind of web tool, which we'll talk about, to create a final product that they're going to present to the class. So how does this support differentiation? Again, something important that I described was the groups. They're being grouped and there's some kind of common characteristic there. But as far as students taking control of their own learning, they're deciding what research tools they'll use, what form their final presentation will take, like what kind of tool they're going to use, and what information they retain from their classmates. So how maybe they're taking, whatever kind of notes they're taking from other classmates' presentations, they're asking questions, they're deciding what they retain from their classmates. Teachers can also use backwards design. So teachers can have students at the beginning, once they decide on what kind of tool they want, rather than teachers evaluating through a general rubric, they can have students create their own rubrics for their project. And that also supports differentiation because students are setting their own requirements for themselves. And in general, as I said, they're taking control of their own learning, and the teacher is really just acting as a facilitator. So these are some of the final product ideas. These are tips that you can give your students and ideas that you can give them. But again, the point is just to kind of leave it open-ended. So obviously more traditional, but some kind of slides presentation. More traditional tools are obviously Google Slides, PowerPoint, Keynote. And then some more creative options are Powtoon and Prezi. An infographic. So this can kind of take a lot of different forms. A more traditional, probably easier to use programs are Google Docs, Google Slides, and Google Drawings. That's what I find I'm most comfortable with, coming from a high school where we heavily utilized those things. And then as far as more creative things that might take students a little more time to learn is tools such as Canva, Infogram, LucidPress, and Pictochart. I'm a podcast. I really only put 3 tools on here because this can take a lot of different forms, whether it's just any kind of phone or anything that students are just recording a podcast into and sending it in, or if they want to get more complicated with something such as Anchor or GarageBand where they're editing their voices with different sound effects and stuff, a podcast could also be a great option. And then another one is a digital game or web quest. It's very versatile. There's really a lot of different forms and formats and ways that this can take. Something that I found a lot of my teachers have done has been hyperlinks. So I get a document with sections with questions, and there's a hyperlink at the top that says, click here to start section 1. So I'll click there, it'll bring me to a page say about a certain battle of the Civil War. So I'll read about the Battle of Antietam, and then the questions on the document where the web quests originate, kind of the hub for all the links, will be a question about the Battle of Antietam. That kind of goes the same for slideshows and Google Drawings. Hyperlinks can be embedded into there. I find that for like a Google Drawing, that would probably be more conducive to a game. I'm not that familiar with that, but I've seen it done. A Google site, I know that's used a lot for web quests. And then Scratch is something for a game, particularly for students who are interested in coding because it has to do with programming. It's block coding, so it's more of like a drag and drop kind of thing. Again, that would probably take a little longer and is really for students who are comfortable with that kind of thing, but it's an option. And the possibilities are endless. There's something for every student to use, whether that's something they learned how to use in a different class, or if it's something like, as I mentioned, coding, something they do on the side as a hobby. They really get to show their own personality and how they learn best in these kind of projects. So a really good resource I found was Common Sense Education. So when you go on there, say you want to look for podcasting tools, they'll have an entire article with a list of 12 different podcasting tools that are well reviewed. And you'll click on there and you'll see all the reviews for them. And it's just a really great tool for finding different creation tools online.